Today is March 7th, 2024, and 22 years ago, I was born. This past year was turbulent, to say the least, but the pieces are finally falling into place for me, and I'm so excited that they are. So here's what I look like at 22. In the wise words of T Swift, I don't know about you, but I am feeling 22. Main highlight of this past year, doing a massive career change and moving across the country. I think that's a pretty big step. The time leading up to that didn't exactly go as I expected, but looking back, it actually taught me more about myself. And if things hadn't taken so long, I wouldn't have the opportunities and adventures that I did. Speaking of adventures, I left the country for the first time in my life. Looking back at my time traveling Japan sometimes feels like a dream. The experiences that I had there are going to stick with me for my entire life. It felt wonderful to fall in love with the country and soak in as much culture as I could. The experiences were made all the better by the company I was so lucky to have met. Christiane Jones hosted the trip, and we had a plethora of people come from all over to explore Japan, and they were strangers turned friends so very quickly. Life without friends would certainly be dull, and I always cherish the people I get to meet along the way. Whether that be a stranger in the bookstore or a fellow booktuber that I befriended, they certainly make life brighter. Granted, none make my life quite as bright as my parabetide Katie, but she already took up so much of my This Is Me video last year. She's had her moment. I do love celebrating my accomplishments with her though, even many states away. One of those included hitting 10,000 subscribers. It doesn't feel real, and younger me would be freaking out. Although to be fair, current me also did. Making these videos bring me an insurmountable amount of joy, and sometimes the comment sections feel like chatting with friends who are just as passionate about books. So to all of you watching, whether you comment on all of my videos, comment on one, or never comment, I appreciate you more than I can ever express. And while we're on the topic of books, the last book I read was Elantris by Brando Sando, and shockingly, I'm not reading anything at the moment, but either Yumi and the Nightmare Painter or ASAP will be my next read. My favorite book series is, say it with me now, Ranger's Apprentice, but here are a couple of my other top series. And here is a view of my glorious bookshelves, finally freed from the storage unit that they sat in for nearly an entire year. Here is the current situation with the rest of my room. It's halfway-ish sort of set up because I just moved in a few days ago. I'm living in a house with two roommates, Jimena and Indigo, and I'm thrilled to call this home for, hopefully, at least 2 years. I have 7 tattoos as of right now. As per usual, many are planned for the future. These 3 are my most recent additions, and every time I look at Angry Jigglypuff, it makes me smile, so money well spent. Here are some of my current favorite bops. I've returned to listening to a lot of songs I used to have on my iPod, and here's a song that has me in a chokehold currently. Speaking of chokeholds, I also competed in something for the first time since 2020. I finally convinced myself, or if we're being honest, I finally got convinced to compete in a jiu-jitsu tournament. I grew up as a competitive gymnast, so no matter how many years I try to convince myself or others that I'm not competitive, it's just not true. I managed to place second in both gi and no gi, and I'm so proud of myself for pushing or getting pushed to try something new. I miss my old gym so much. The coaches and other athletes truly became a family, and I don't know how I'm supposed to find a new gym that will match how amazing they are. They kept me sane in my many months of waiting for my job to call me for training. And by many months, I mean 5 months of radio silence before they deigned to give me a call. During those months, though, I really focused on my art and honing my skills in cartography. The hard work paid off because I had my first commission for a book. I know I'll never be a published writer, no skill in that particular avenue, but the fact I'll still have something published in a book is so exciting. I'm probably just as keen as the author for the book to finally be released, and I plan to continue my journey growing as a cartographer this year, but I am thrilled that I can finally say I'm a flight attendant. I can't speak too much about the experience of being a flight attendant. I've only just graduated and worked a couple trips, but I can say training was certainly something. I am glad to say that many of my classmates I can call friends, and I already know I'll be running across the airport to say hello if I spot them during my travels. It was a long 5 weeks, but I survived, and I have gained experiences doing things I never imagined. I know it's cheesy to say that I'm excited to start the next chapter of my life. How cliche, right? Someone needs to hire a new writer. But I am! I look forward to making more memories, traveling to new places, forging new friendships, and continuing to grow into someone that I love when I look in the mirror. Here's to being 22.